Hello and welcome back to Atomic Candy. This is David and Miss Lady Pop Hunter. I found her and drug her back over here reluctantly, and she's being awful today. And I just wanted to touch on something that I had brought up in the last weekly roundup that you were not here for,
Yep.
unfortunately, but the lawsuits. And I'm not talking about the lawsuit with who is it, Fender or somebody
Oh
suing over
yeah,
the guitar.
the guitar
Yeah,
manufacturer.
no, this is a lot more serious, something that Funko is facing. The Shareholders Foundation Incorporated, which is basically a portfolio monitoring system,
Hmm.
who watches stock options, because you know that they went full IPO with
Yeah.
NASDAQ. I think it was NASDAQ.
Yeah, I think it was
They,
NASDAQ. It wasn't the Dow.
no, they're not big enough for Dow.
No, it was
But
NASDAQ.
yeah, they went IPO, they started selling stocks, and if you watched our video on that, it was a disaster. The stock completely tanked on the first day. It
Yeah.
was the largest stock failure in 17 years. Where are you
Oh,
going?
I didn't know I was gonna be off screen if I did that.
It was
I was
the,
gonna face you
oh
so I
yeah,
could see you.
I don't blame you. It was the largest stock failure in 17 years. It was a complete disaster and
Hmm.
really has not recovered. And so they examined this because that's what this shareholders foundation does is check out shares to see if there's anything funny going on.
Hmm.
And they found problems. They
Mm.
found three violations of the what is it? The Securities Act of 1933. It's sections 11, 12, and 15 they're in violation of,
Oh wow.
which is, in a nutshell, all
Hmm.
three of those things reflect on not giving a full disclosure.
Hmm.
And so what the accusation was that you did not let people know what your true earnings are, what your true earnings potential is, and basically how much money you're actually making.
Oh wow.
So what they did show, whether by accident or by on purpose,
Hmm.
whether it's on accident or purposely, will you quit doing that?
Okay, I'm trying
You're awful.
trying to get comfortable.
Okay, whether it was deliberately or by mistake,
Hmm.
did not reveal their true numbers to NASDAQ or to the public before going public with their IPO, their initial public offering. And this is not like a frivolous thing. It's not. It's kind of like when you do malpractice,
Hmm.
you can't just sue a doctor or a hospital. You have to get permission. And in order to get permission, you have to be able to demonstrate that something actually happened. And that's what happened here. Shareholders Foundation Incorporated was able to demonstrate that there is a clear violation of the 11th, 12th, and 15th verse of the Securities Act. And because of that now, Rosen Law Firm, Howard Smith and Associates, and a whole bunch of other places, at least four that I've seen so far,
Mm.
have opened up a blanket lawsuit against Funko Incorporated for the violation of these for basically misleading shareholders. They lied about their numbers. Once again, whether it's by accident or on purpose, if it was one thing, maybe I could say it was an accident.
Yeah, but
You
three,
get three
and
violations.
those are major things.
Yeah.
So it really makes you wonder about their structure, their CEO, their CFO, and all of the advisors and their vice presidents at the
Hmm.
top. What are they doing? Are they really like their CFO? Is he really a financial person? Is he an actual accountant? Is the CEO actually a person that is able to run a business? Because these aren't like petty things.
Yeah, it's
These
it's
aren't like
major.
oversights. you know, an accountant, they might miss a little
Because if it's a
something.
mistake, it is
That's
massive.
massive.
It's
That's a
massive.
massive
It's a
mistake.
game-ending mistake.
Yeah, but you know, and before, I don't know if we talked about it on the video, but I've questioned their business practices many a time. I know me and you personally have talked about it.
Yeah,
Just the way they run their business, meaning how they handle distributing their products.
yeah,
You
that's a
know,
huge problem.
right? Because even with that, it makes you wonder, you know, who are these people really business minded people, or are there just some people that came together one day and came up with a product and was like, oh, let's market it,
Hmm.
you know, because they're not doing a very good
Because
job.
they really forced it. They really forced their hand in the market once they had a product that was working, which of course
Mhm.
is the pops. It's
Yeah.
their biggest product,
Yeah.
period, is their pops.
Mhm.
They in 2015,
Mhm.
they went from making an obscure amount of money to making like $250 million
Mhm.
by licensing everything they could think of. And then in 16 and 17, they doubled it again, doubled it again. They went
Yeah.
from like $250 million to 350 billion to 350 million
Mhm.
to almost $500 million,
Mhm.
and it was just too soon. And they called it funhouse stockholding,
Mhm.
where they're like, hey, you really don't have a history. There
Yeah.
is no history to speak of, and since it's a collector's genre, it could change in a heartbeat. It could
Yeah.
just die
Yeah.
suddenly, like what happened to Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
In the original Masters of the Universe, the '80s one was an immensely popular market,
Mhm.
and then in one year they made 400 million from off of their marketing, and then the next year they made seven. And Mattel was like, "Oops,
Yeah. What
stop!
happened?
Whatever you're doing, stop!
Yeah.
Shut it down." And then that's why the cartoon went off the air, and that's why or they stopped making them anyway. They still show reruns,
Yeah.
but they stopped making them and they cut the toy line, and they blame that on She-Ra. Actually, that
Yeah.
they incorporated She-Ra because the girls' division of toys was whining about He-Man, and so they did She-Ra, and then everybody was like, "We don't like She-Ra. Screw Masters of the Universe," and they
Yeah.
just died one day. That can happen in the toy industry. One day, bam, it's gone. And shareholders who know what they're doing know this. But what's going to happen is all these people are trying to reach out to people who own, or these legal firms are reaching out to people who have stock in Funko or purchased stock in
Mhm.
Funko, because they were technically misled.
Yeah.
And that means that they took a loss because they were misled, which means they're entitled to getting something back,
Mhm.
which means lawsuits.
Yeah.
And Funko was like, "Oh no, people, they're just picking on us because we're successful." I'm telling you their actual. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is their actual statement.
Mhm.
They're picking on us because we're successful, and they just want to cut in. It doesn't work that way. One of two things is going to happen. One, they'll fight it in court and they'll get hammered and they'll
Yeah.
end up being liquidated. Or two, they'll settle out of court, which will expand their debt even further because they are in a considerable amount of debt. They owe almost as much as they earn in a year
Hmm.
in debt, and we talked about that too
Yeah. When we
in great deal.
initially talked
Yeah,
about their going public, we covered that. But if they go to court, they'll be tied up in legal
that
battles for
too
years.
for years.
You
It
know, and everything they make. So that means either they're gonna really push out more product on people to
no,
make the money to pay their legal fees, or they're gonna really have to cut back.
yeah, and eventually they're going to lose in court.
Yeah,
That
because if they have to push out more product, and we've said it before, I know I have, they don't make good products anyway. So that means the quality of the products is going to
it's
go
going to
down even
suffer.
further because they need to do less cost for making a product, and then the price will go up. So then you have
Correct.
a product that's crappy that costs even more.
Hmm. And that's going to irritate collectors even
Yeah,
further.
and then people are not going to want to buy it. And I think from listening, you know, through various social media, people are getting fed up with Funko anyway because of how they never can get their hands on the things that they want, or the quality is so bad. Like the paint job is bad. Um, Back to the Hulk that came
The
out,
hammer.
the hammer was broken. Something else came out where it was broken. The Bugs
The
Bunny,
flocked Bugs Bunny,
was
his carrot arm was falling off.
yeah. So people are starting to get fed up with that stuff, and they're starting to back away from Funko. And now they have that whole McDonald's fiasco
Yeah, and
going
that's got
on.
to be a licensing issue.
Yeah,
That's got to be a licensing issue.
yeah. And
Somebody didn't like their designs.
somebody didn't like their design, or they just didn't want to be bothered.
Well, McDonald's will license anything.
I
But
know.
so it's somebody at McDonald's corporate was like, I don't know. And they're gonna start all over again. They're
Yeah.
taking it all the way back to the books.
Yeah, because I've heard they've canceled pre-orders.
Because I would have liked that one.
Yeah,
That
I
actually
was
sounds
waiting
pretty
for
cool.
it to come out
Sure.
so I could get the pre-order.
Mhm.
But no, it seems like things for Funko is on a very rocky road. So who knows what they're gonna look like. I've said before, I'll be surprised if they're around in 2 years.
And if they do settle, because like I said, that's the smart money. When something like this happens, your best bet is to settle.
Yeah,
So don't drag it out for 10 years in court, because then you're really going to get burned.
yeah.
Just settle the lawsuit, which means they're going to go owe even more. They already owe hundreds of millions of dollars that they were going to try to pay off with the initial public offering,
Yeah.
and it didn't pan out
They
because the
didn't make the
stock
money they thought they
tanked.
were gonna make.
The stock failed,
Yeah.
so they couldn't make the money. They made no money on that sale. And the official wording of the lawsuit, and I've got it pulled up here, it says that documents filed in connection with the IPO contained materially false and or misleading statements and or failed to disclose that, number one, Funko's earnings growth trends were not as strong as the company suggested. Number two, Funko's EBITDA growth trends were not representative of its true prospects. And three, as a result, Funko's registration statement, I almost read it wrong, registration statement and prospectus were materially misleading at all relevant times. When the true details entered the market, the lawsuit claims the investors suffered damages. You bought it at $17 when it opened up, and by the end of the day, it was worth $6.23 or something. You took a bath.
Yeah.
And so that they weren't straight with people or with NASDAQ to begin with. I think it's NASDAQ. I hope it is,
almost sure
because
it's
I keep
NASDAQ.
saying NASDAQ.
Yeah.
I can't remember for some reason. I know it's not Dow, and I know it's not, what's the other one?
S&P.
Yeah, they're not big enough for S&P
No,
either.
it's NASDAQ.
Yeah,
I'm almost sure it's NASDAQ.
at that level, you're talking like multi-billion-dollar companies. But yeah, their numbers, something was funny with their numbers. This legal portfolio monitoring system incorporated looked into it, Shareholders Foundation. I'm reading the wrong one. Shareholders Foundation Incorporated looked into it and said, hey, you know what? Something is funny here. We need to put the word out. When they put the word out, that's when the lawsuits began.
And like I said, if you had good advisors, good chiefs at the top, good vice presidents, they wouldn't have let that slide, because they were already in a tight spot. Now you even in a tighter spot. You're in a worse bind than when you started.
Yeah.
They would have been better off not going public.
That's something that could completely shut them down.
Yeah.
It's no joke. Like I said, if court equals liquidation, settlement equals even more debt, which will eventually lead to bankruptcy.
But then also, with the lawsuit, and definitely if they go to court, more digging. So this is just stuff they found on the surface.
If there's something else.
Right. If they go digging, if you're going to put this out, you got more stuff you're hiding, I think.
It's possible.
I mean, and this stuff is major.
And of course, why are we talking about it? Because we're not a kiss butt channel. This is something that's important. If you're a big Funko collector, this is another step towards there not being one.
Yeah.
Unless somebody buys them out, which is possible.
And then companies buy out other companies, and then you see
time.
what happens with that. They They go good probably for a few years and then they
Yeah,
die.
yeah, and which is the subject of our next video, actually,
Mm-hmm.
because we will be talking about Toys R Us. I'm
Yeah.
sure just about everybody knows
Toys R
what's
Us
going
is
on with
going
Toys
out
R
of
Us right
business.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. What do you think? You know, you can put your thoughts. I'm over here
In
in
the
the comment
comment
section
section
down below,
below.
somewhere over here. And let us know what you think. Um, please do like, share, and subscribe. Check out some of our other videos.
Mm-hmm.
Convince her to keep coming back. What's wrong with you? I know she's very busy though. She really
Mm-hmm.
is. I've got a little bit more time than she does, so I managed to get out here. So we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Are you done? You're awful.